up in the 10-day.
Maria, thank you. Also coming up, President Trump fighting the Associated Press over.
Heading into New Jersey now, routes 1 and 9 both ways. You've got a couple lanes closed off because of a crash on the northbound side. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to help you get around it. Let's take a live look outside.
For some, it's their first plunge into a fascinating undersea world. For others, it's an annual pilgrimage.
Okay, Maria, 2 words for you. Aha! It is colder than we thought.
It is, yes. Just looking at the calendar, so far this month, we've had more days below average by quite a bit than above average. And you can see that, yeah, this month, if you look back, it feels cold. And you have the data to support it. But what's interesting, it's not even remotely close to any sort of top 10, top 20. It's just barely cracked the top 100 coldest period for February up until yesterday as far as the records go. But it's cold everywhere. We're just in this pattern right now. I mean, look at this map. These are extreme cold warnings in that royal blue going from the Dakotas all the way down into central Texas, where right now Dallas has close to below 0 wind chills currently. And then, of course, winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories because of this moving through parts of the south. We continue to show that this is going to stay well to our south, but just enough that in the wake of it, this little disturbance coming out of the Great Lakes will be enough to touch off some snow. And because we're on the much colder side of this southern system, it's going to be all snow. And so we still have a couple of really chilly days, certainly very chilly mornings ahead of us before we can really talk about a warm up that you will really notice the difference. And that's going to happen as we get into next week, where we string a couple of days that will be close to or above average. But let's just touch on that little bit of snow for tomorrow, because while it's not going to be a lot, as you can see, temperatures in the teens and 20s, anything that falls during tomorrow afternoon and evening will stick. So we're looking at maybe a coating in some places to an inch, but maybe enough to reduce visibility for a short time during that PM commute. So that's sort of the impact that we're expecting out of that little system. Otherwise, it's the chill for today. We've got 18 right now at Central Park. Those winds are still 10 to 20 plus miles per hour. So it's still freezing today. Bundle up. 30 degrees for the high. Many of us staying in the 20s, so you want to bundle up. By tomorrow, highs still below freezing, still just in the 20s before we start to kind of claw our way out of it. By Friday and Saturday, some sunshine. Upper 30s by Saturday, low 40s Sunday into Monday. And as we get into the middle of next week, more like the mid 40s, which will feel pretty nice. And we're keeping an eye on an end of the week system, end of February, that could bring us some rain showers. All right, 5:19 now. Adele, what's going on?
Going on, actually, it's a pretty busy start to the morning commute here. 80 eastbound, still shut down, of course, over by exit 34 because of that sinkhole from a couple of weeks ago. Westbound side is shut down for construction work. That'll wrap up around 6 a.m. for the time being. Stick to 46 or Route 10 instead. On top of that, Garden State Parkway southbound by exit 143C in Irvington. We've got a crash here. 2 lanes are closed off, and both ways on routes 1 and 9. You've got a couple lanes closed off from 278 out to Willow Glade Road. This is because of a crash on the northbound side, definitely causing some pretty heavy backups. 27 or the Turnpike would be your way around it. Heading out to the Holland Tunnel, not facing the Holland Tunnel right now, though. Outbound side is closed for construction till 6 a.m. and the Spelt Parkway crash has cleared. Darlene, Michael, back to you.
Thank you, Adele. 5:20 right now in spring training. Baseball's richest individual owner, the Met Steve Cohen, laid out his
This Wednesday, it's February 19th. I'm Michael Gargiulo.
I'm Darlene Rodriguez. Del Caballero's looking at some slowdowns now. Storm Team 4's Maria LaRosas checking on the weather. What do we have? 18 degrees.
Everybody simmer down.
Simmer down.
We're not going to be anywhere near 50 today, but yeah, we're looking ahead to a warm up eventually as we look at the Brooklyn Bridge. 16 in White Plains, 19 in Islip, Poughkeepsie at 15, but it feels like 3 above there. It feels like 7 right now in the city with that wind factored in. Wind isn't too bad this morning. It's just that cold, but gusts still in that 15 to 20 mile per hour range during the afternoon is going to definitely keep the chill around. By 9 a.m., 21 degrees. We'll call it sun and clouds for the day, and then mostly cloudy later on. By 4 p.m., 30 degrees and a northwest wind about 5 to 10. Still those feels like temperatures down into the upper teens and low 20s through dinner time. By 6 p.m., right about 29 degrees. All right, 5:31. Let's check out those slowdowns.
Yeah, we have a few slowdowns, especially coming out of New Jersey right now. 278 westbound right by routes 1 and 9 all all lanes are shut down. This is because of an accident. You can also expect to see possible lane closures along routes 1 and 9 as well, both ways. We're going to keep a close eye on this, keep you posted on it. Then on the Garden State Parkway southbound by exit 143C over by Irvington, or in Irvington here, we've got a couple lanes closed off for a crash. Luckily, this one doesn't seem to be causing too much of a heavy backup. Darlene, back to you.
Thanks so much, Adele. 5:32 and happening to.
And the single-digit wind chills at this point. And you can see wind-wise, nothing crazy, but it's just enough because it is that cold to keep those wind chills really low. As we look at the plaza, the ice rink, by the way, open till April. So that's a good thing. Still time to enjoy it. Although it's chilly out there for today, we are still looking at temperatures improving for the weekend, especially if you're kind of over this deep freeze and getting a little bit of a break. And still no major precipitation until next week. And we say major because there's that chance for tomorrow. So a lot to get through. Let's talk temps first. 18 at Central Park right now. There's that wind chill of 7, but those winds are only about 9 miles per hour sustained. So again, while not off the charts gusty like we have been the last few days, it will be enough to keep wind chills in the teens and low 20s in the city through later on this evening and into tonight. And it has been a very windy month. We've only had a handful of days where we haven't reported a gust over 20 miles per hour. And we're going to see that continue into tomorrow and Friday. But tomorrow's the day where we kind of sandwich in between some dry weather here for that dusting of snow. So our system to the south, that's giving us the total miss of the big snowfall. We have another little disturbance in the wake of it, and this is going to be enough by tomorrow afternoon to give us certainly a little scenery snow, maybe a little dusting or coating, and could be enough to slow down the PM commute a little bit here. But note the temperatures, teens and 20s the whole time. So this is not a mixing thing. Everything that falls will stick and will be as a snowfall. And then we start to dry out and the sun returns by Friday. But Friday is going to be another blustery day, even though with the sunshine, we're in the wake of our big coastal system, so it's going to drive those winds high. All right, today up to 30 degrees. Looking at some mostly cloudy skies later in the day, and it's still that northwest flow. 19 degrees overnight tonight, so it's another frigid start to the day tomorrow. We stay cold, only in the 20s. So with those 40s, really not until Sunday, but we get a dry weekend in, so that's a nice change of pace too. And then early next week, we see pretty consistent several days in a row, mid-40s. That'll feel pretty nice. And then by the end of the week, as we wrap up February, maybe some rain chances. All right, 5:47 now. Adele, what's going on?
We've actually got a lot going on this morning, especially out of New Jersey. Let's start things off here on a good note, somewhat of a good note. 80 eastbound, that's still shut down over by exit 34 because of that sinkhole from a couple weeks ago. The good news is, though, westbound lanes have reopened. Any earlier delays on the westbound side have eased out. But if you're heading eastbound, expect to see a pretty heavy backups there. Stick to 46 or Route 10 instead. And then 278 westbound completely shut down over by routes 1 and 9. This is because of an accident on 1 and 9 northbound. Both ways on 1 and 9, expect to see a couple lanes closed off over by 278. And if you are heading to the Outer Bridge crossing, New Jersey bound, you've got a stalled truck. Let's take a quick check here at those gas prices. New York, $3.18 a gallon, $3.02 for New Jersey, $3.10 for Connecticut, and alternate side is in effect today. Darlene, Michael, back to you.
Adele, thanks so much. 5:48 right now.
You know, this morning, the Yankees will kick off their new season with a familiar voice in the broadcast booth.
It's Joe Buck. He's going to return to baseball for at least one day to call the Yankees home opener. Joe Buck spent 25 years in the broadcast booth for Major League Baseball.
Things first. Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, February 19th. I'm Darlene Rodriguez.
Michael Gargiulo, Del Caballero is looking at problems in New Jersey. The Storm Before LaRosa here with today's forecast. I mean, everyone is asking you like every 10 minutes, right?
I know.
When's it going to get warmer?
Well, the good news is we have the end of February in the 10-day.
Okay.
Can you believe that? I mean, we're here already. So we are going to see temperatures rebound a little bit, but yeah, a couple frigid days still to go. But it is pretty out there. Chopper 4 in the skies looking beautiful right now. We appreciate you guys so much, along with our beauty shots, of course, keeping you ahead of all the breaking news. We are at 17 chilly degrees right now at Central Park, 15 in White Plains, 19 in Islip, Bridgeport at 18 degrees. You see some patchy clouds out there, but you don't see any of these gusts that are wild like they have been the last few days. With that said, still out of the northwest, 20 plus miles per hour. This is enough to keep the wind chill where it is, down in the single digits right now in the city. It'll feel like the low 20s all day today, but by 2 o'clock, we're looking at 29. Our high today, 30 degrees, and we'll call it sun and clouds to mostly cloudy later on today, but it does stay dry. Obviously, you can see those temperatures dipping back into the upper teens and low 20s as early as late evening. All right, 6:01, 6:02 almost. Adele, what's the latest?
We've got a couple of updates here. Actually, let's start things off here on a good note. 278 and routes 1 and 9. That crash has been cleared from the roadway. All lanes have reopened and delays are quickly easing out through there. But we now have a crash on the Whitestone Bridge heading into Queens. One lane is closed off right on the span there, and delays have trickled all the way back into the Bronx. If you are heading into New Jersey from Staten Island Outer Bridge crossing, you've also got some delays here. New Jersey bound on the span, you've got a stalled truck taking out a lane. We'll keep you updated on all that. For now, back to you, Michael.
Adele, thank you very much. Happening today.
It won't go away. Yeah.
Right? Maria, beautiful view there, early morning lights.
Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, our days are getting much longer.
They are.
Love that. Earlier sunrises, later sunsets. And we're going to see a little bit of sun today, but it's still going to be really cold. And of course, with that light dusting of snow tomorrow, we're going to update that timing for you. But it's going to be blustery again by Friday. Just how much improvement are we talking about where we say temps improve this weekend? I'll show you in the 10-day.
Thank you. And President
Bridge heading into Queens. We've got major backups here because of a crash taking out a lane. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to help you get around it. But let's take a live look outside right now onto the Alexander Hamilton Bridge. Darlene, Michael, still looking pretty good through here.
Thanks so much, Adele. And you can now watch today.
Sun for at least the afternoon, and then clouds more increasing more tonight, down to 19 degrees, and still looking ahead with just a little bit of a breeze of wind chills in the single digits. Just a few flakes fly tomorrow afternoon, and then we're dry and quiet for a couple days. That will allow our temperatures to rebound a bit. So 42 on Sunday, and then a stretch of temperatures in the low to mid 40s. That will feel pretty nice. By the time we look at the end of the week, we're keeping an eye on another storm system here, but temps in the 40s. All right, 6:20 now. Adele, what's going on?
We're on right now. The big story right now is the LIE westbound side completely shut down here for a crash from exit 28 Oceania Street out to exit 27 for the Clearview Expressway. You've got a solid ride all the way back to Long Island. Grand Central Parkway would be your way around it. And then if you are making your way a little further along onto the LIE, traffic is still pretty light here as you make that approach into Woodhaven Boulevard. That earlier crash on the Whitestone Bridge heading into Queens, that's cleared out. It has left behind some delays, though, so to play it safe, make your way over to the Throgs Neck Bridge instead. And if you are heading onto the BQE here, westbound side by Queens Boulevard, exit 39, we've got an accident, one lane closed off, and the Outer Bridge crossing still watching that stalled truck heading into New Jersey. Michael, back to you.
All right, Adele, thank you so much. At 6:20, Trump administration officials, including the close advisor to President,
says it plans to focus on
At view, by the way, out of Jersey City. But we have those temperatures increasing as we get into the weekend. The next question is that little bit of snow for tomorrow. We'll talk about the latest timing and a look at the totals coming up in the 10-day.
Thank you. And this crash in Toronto. New video from inside the cockpit of another jet.
South right by exit 6 into 15th Street. We've got a crash taking out a lane already, causing slowdowns through the area. Coming up in just a few minutes, we've also got an update for you on those accidents coming out of Queens. Let's take a
for New York.
If the kids are home from school, a museum, a great option to stay warm on a day like today.
Sure,
yes,
for sure. It's another one, and we've got a few more to go before we really start that temperature turnaround. Let's show you. The headlines haven't changed a whole lot over the last few days, right? It stays below freezing. We're talking about today and the next several, not really climbing above freezing probably until Friday afternoon. Moderating those temperatures by the weekend, that's still on track, and no major precipitation until we get to next week. So the keyword major, because I do have some minor on the way. But if you're getting ready to prepare for the rest of the day, prepare for numbers like this. Feels like temperatures, while the winds aren't howling like they were the last few days, it's just enough to shave a couple of degrees off of the actual temperature to what it feels like. So this afternoon, staying in the upper teens, low 20s, even as we get into the midnight hour. But we're not alone. That cold air is all the way down across the south. Dallas, sub-zero wind chill right now. And of course, our snowstorm underway through parts of the mid-Atlantic. The storm track is still well to the south. Where we're going to get our little dusting from is in the wake of this, the flow, this little disturbance coming around and rotating on by that brings enough chance here, enough moisture to work with for a little dusting of snow tomorrow. We'll go into more detail in a second, but high pressure then quickly takes over. So it's a pretty quiet weekend. That's going to allow those temperatures to finally get out of the freezing zone and back closer to average. So tomorrow, just a heads up, it stays very cold. We stay below freezing. We stay in the 20s. So anything that moves on by is going to produce some snow. And we've got some light snow showers by early afternoon. afternoon. That continues into the late afternoon and early evening. So with temperatures in the teens and 20s, it's all snow. It's going to fall and stick every single flake. So a couple of things to keep in mind. The morning commute, no problem. Midday, lunch hour, no problem. Maybe enough with those little snow showers to slow down the evening commute tomorrow a little bit, reduce visibility and maybe some slick roadways. But that should be just about it. Of course, we're rounding out the last week and a half of February, which is typically our snowiest month. Hasn't been so far this year, but we never discount March. But it definitely gets a lot harder to get these big snowmakers, these big snowstorms in here. So we're starting to close that window on that potential. We have one maybe potential in that 10-day. I'll show you that in a second. Right now, 24 degrees, but it feels like 13 out there. Mostly cloudy skies and high temperatures today staying right about 30 degrees. Northwest winds about 5 to 15. That sunset, by the way, 5:36. We've added about 45 minutes or so of daylight since the beginning of the month. 19 degrees overnight tonight. Northwest winds about 5 to 10. So another frigid start to the day tomorrow. And 29 degrees for the high. That's it, although a lighter north wind about 5 to 10 miles per hour. So looking ahead, yes, the sun comes out again on Friday. It is going to be really blustery. So with highs in the 30s, it's still going to be chilly, but at least we're going to break that freezing mark. And then Saturday into Sunday, calm conditions, 42 degrees by Sunday. And you can see Gilma by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday back into the mid-40s.
Okay, got to get through this work week. Maria, thank you. Lauren Scala joins us now with what's coming up next on New York Live. Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Gilma. Well, they're gorgeous, delicious, and frosted by Nava. We'll meet a concert pianist turned cake artist who's making floral masterpieces, earning some silvers ever. Plus, Sonia Walger and Darren Barnett right here at 11:30.
Okay, Lauren, we'll see you in just about 5 minutes. Thank you.